Warning, this video contains spoilers.
The Conjuring movies and their subsequent spin-offs are famous for giving paranormal, true stories a big Hollywood makeover. So far, these movies have tapped into several investigations carried out by Ed and Lorraine Warren, a pair of real-life paranormal investigators whose cases have captured the minds of horror fans. That includes The Nun, the 2018 spin-off film that serves as a prequel to The Conjuring 2. You may recall that in The Conjuring 2, actor Bonnie Aarons plays the film's antagonist, a demon nun channeling the spirit of the evil Valak. The Nun serves as an origin story to the non-demon nun named Sister Irene and a priest named Father Burke, who travels to investigate a monastery in 1952 Romania, where strange things have been happening.
I think being here is a mistake.
Sister Irene and Father Burke eventually learn that the abbey was built on a rift intended to seal out the evil demon Valak, but in the events of World War II bombings, the seal had been broken, and Valak escaped her imprisonment and would eventually be faced by paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren in The Conjuring 2.
V-A-L-A-K. Valak.
So you might be wondering, were the strange happenings in the 1952 Romanian monastery in The Nun also based on a real case? Kinda. The film was shot in Romania, in part due to the country's abundance of creepy castles and Gothic architecture. Making it even more enticing was the cost. It was less expensive than shooting in other parts of Europe. The real-life Carda Monastery is a former Benedictine monastery found in the 1200s in southern Transylvania in Romania. Today, the monastery functions as a Lutheran evangelical church. The church building is the only part of the actual monastery that is still intact. The movie scenes aren't shot there, but the film's depiction of the structure is an interesting link to the region's past. But The Nun may have been inspired by a real encounter paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren claim to have had with a nun at a British abbey. In 2018, Esquire magazine spoke with the Warrens' son-in-law, Tony Sparrow, who said that the demon nun in the movie was similar to a ghost nun that the Warrens met at a haunted Borley church in southern England in the 1970s. Strange occurrences were rumored to be going on at the church, like bells ringing unexpectedly, a mysterious headless monk leaving writings on the wall, and a spectral nun haunting the halls at night. The Warrens went to investigate, and as they say, they witnessed a nun who was supposedly buried alive in the walls of the church after she was caught having an affair with the monk. Lorraine Warren was said to have felt the presence of a nun in this church. In his interview, Sparrow said to Esquire, "Is The Nun based on that experience? I think Hollywood takes bits and pieces of different stories and puts them together. They couldn't have just come up with The Nun out of the blue." Now, in The Conjuring 2, we are first introduced to the demon Valak in the form of the nun, which Lorraine Warren sees the nun at home at the Amityville house and in Enfield, England. Is this just a coincidence, or is the demon following her? Actually, it's neither. As director James Wan explained, the nun Lorraine sees is a premonition. When she's at Amityville, it's not like she's haunted by a ghost at Amityville. She's having a premonition of what's going to happen to her husband in the near future. That's all it is. So she's seeing what's going to happen at the end of the movie. The demonic entity that takes on the form of a nun has got nothing to do with Amityville at all. She's just having a psychic premonition. The visions are essentially foreshadowing what's to come. For example, when the nun appears at her home, it's foreshadowing what's going to happen in England. It's later revealed that the being haunting Enfield isn't the spirit of the old man, but rather the demon Valak, acting via the old man's spirit.
I think I'd like to go now. I can't.
Why not?
He wants her so badly.
But the origins of the nun story doesn't end there. References to the demon Valak stretch back centuries. Although Valak is depicted as a habit-wearing spirit, the real demon appears as a child riding a two-headed dragon, at least according to a 7th century demon hunting manual. Valak appears in various grimoires, grimoires are books of magic that in part describe how to conjure demons. In those works, Valak never appears as a nun, a trait created by the filmmakers. One of the most notable mentions of Valak is in the mid-17th century Goetic grimoire, The Lesser Key of Solomon. The Lesser Key of Solomon, also known as Lemegeton Clavicula Salomonis, or simply Lemegeton, is an anonymously authored grimoire on sorcery. It was compiled in the mid-17th century, mostly from materials several centuries older. It is based on the pseudepigraphical composite text of the Testament of Solomon and the ring mentioned within, which is alleged to be the one he used to seal demons. Despite the text's claim to have been accounts of King Solomon, suggested dates for its composition range between the end of the 1st century CE and the High Middle Ages, so it's highly possible and more probable to have origins elsewhere. The Lesser Key of Solomon describes the demon Valak as the Grand President of Hell who commands legions of demonic minions. It states the following: the 62nd spirit of Valak, or Valu. He is a president, mighty and great, and appeareth like a child with angel's wings, riding on a two-headed dragon. His office is to give true answers of hidden treasures, and to tell whether serpents may be seen, the which he will bring onto the exorciser without any force or strength being by him employed. He governeth 38 legions of spirits, and his seal is thus. So is any part of the nun based on Valak in mythology? No. Unlike the Conjuring films and certain aspects of the Annabelle movies, the nun's story was not inspired by mythology apart from its name. However, the movie story was actually inspired by another work of fiction, the 1986 Sean Connery film The Name of the Rose, which itself was based on Italian author Umberto Eco's best-selling novel of the same name. In that movie, a fictional friar, William of Baskerville, and his apprentice travel to a Benedictine abbey in northern Italy to investigate the mysterious death of a famous monk. The last person who talked to the monk is found dead in a vat of pig blood. Inhabitants of the monastery fear that the devil is behind the murders.
Fellow Franciscans, you must leave this place at once. The devil is roaming this abbey.
It is at this point that the nun and the Name of the Rose diverge. The culprit in Rose is a human one, while in the nun, those who suspect something supernatural are obviously correct. James Wan said that the film is like The Name of the Rose crossed with The Conjuring. Valak's recent depiction as a nun was pure invention on part of the director of The Conjuring 2. I had a strong outlook on the whole movie, but the one thing I wasn't quite sure of was the design of the demon character. According to Wan, the real Lorraine Warren had told him about a spectral entity that appeared as a swirling tornado vortex with this hooded figure. Wan then decided to have the figure don the costume of a nun in order to put it directly in conflict with the Warrens' Catholic faith. The idea of being haunted by your own faith was so potent to Wan that Valak became a central character in 2018's The Nun, wherein the demon terrorizes and possesses the devout members of a Romanian abbey. With black veins and lips peeking out of a ghostly white face, Valak is truly a horrifying presence, no matter what her origins. But now that we all know the origins of Valak and the Nun, who's up for watching Nun 2? If you liked our video, don't forget to subscribe and follow our channel for more videos like this one.